Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
It's time for, our third dose of Dismal Disney for the day. And this isn't going to be a very long video. I just think it's very interesting that we have Variety, trade publication, Disney's harsh new reality, costly film flops, creative struggles, and a shrinking global box office. And that's not even including their theme park attendance.
Disney's got shrinkage issues.
They're shrinking. Disney's shrinking. Look, when you've got Variety calling out and saying the company is in trouble, you're in trouble. Everybody's calling it out now. It's not just YouTubers. It's not just the alt-right Nazis who hate Mickey Mouse for some reason. It's everybody now sees Disney is fundamentally broken. They go through point by point in freaking Variety, point by point, everything that's broken with Disney, and they spend a lot of time talking about Star Wars and Pixar. So put that in your
I know, right?
pipe and vape
Oh,
it.
but I love it how it's okay now.
It's okay now.
A couple years ago, all the toxic, horrible incels hating on Disney, hating on Star Wars. And now they're like, yeah, this all just sucks now. Disney's shrinking and it sucks.
Remember all these wacky conspiracy theories people were trying to put together, these flow charts of how like the alt-right was behind all the irrational Disney hate?
Oh, you mean rewriting Ripley?
Rewriting Ripley, and they had these charts, and they had that transparency tube was shut down.
Yes, they got it shut down.
They shut that shit down.
Because they were like misidentifying us, and we asked them to remove us because we wanted to opt out, and they would not remove us. Like, they removed other people. Like, they removed Anna, I think, and the Star Wars girl. Yeah. They refused to remove us, but they weren't even categorizing us correctly.
Transparency tube was, for those of you who don't know, because it's gone down the memory hole. A couple of years ago, there was this website that basically tracked and cataloged the political affiliations that they thought of a bunch of YouTube channels.
Basically, what they do is our bot. Oh, I'm sorry. Or what do they call it? The AI or whatever was going through and doing that algorithm. Was categorizing it. And if you questioned it, we had it manually reviewed by one of our people who usually turned out to be someone on Twitter. He was one of their Twitterites back when Twitter was like super, super ridiculous. I mean, not that it's much better now, but was worse then. And they're like, well, our reviewer looked at your stuff and said, no, you're categorized correctly because they don't agree with you.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
it was like a handful of people that ran this site, and the whole purpose of this site was to
cause trouble for people,
cause trouble for YouTubers,
to label you when you're allowed
to label you. And they were getting cited by certain media outlets, and a lot of these media outlets were standing for Disney. And it became this thing. It was like, defend Disney if you hate bigotry and Nazis. And now freaking Variety and Deadline and every other major mainstream media outlet is pointing out the fucking obvious. Disney is broken. They're broken. It's a broken company.
They finally just figured it out.
They finally figured it out. So we're going to talk about this. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, if you do, you'll get a woohoo.
Woohoo!
Not many woohoos at the Mouse House these days. Again, coming from Variety, Disney's harsh new reality, costly film flops, creative struggles, and shrinkage. Shrinkage.
Shrinkage.
Yeah, right? For the past decade, Disney was the Teflon movie studio.
Yeah, because the media made it so. The media kept going after people for disagreeing and pointing out the obvious. And lost media for pointing out the obvious.
And they basically said that, they had an arsenal of key properties, Marvel, Lucasfilm, and Pixar.
Yeah, mismanaged all of them.
This is the year that the chickens all came home to roost, right? This year, the long-reigning titan of the box office has shown cracks as 4 of its biggest releases from those brands and others have struggled in theaters.
It showed cracks before. You guys just didn't want to admit it.
Right. It was showing cracks before.
It's been showing cracks for a long time, but y'all were too busy, filling those cracks in and being like, you didn't see anything. You're full of it. There's no cracks.
Oh, they were stuffing those cracks full of
something.
Stuff, right? Because you weren't allowed to say anything negative about Disney. There was the dispiriting release of Ant-Man and the Wasp, a rare Marvel movie to lose tens of millions in its theatrical run.
Wait for the Marvels.
What bigotry is this? The Little Mermaid, a remake of the 1989 animated classic, fell drastically short of expectations.
There's no line after it saying it's because of racist and misogynist?
No. Just it fucking flopped at the fucking box office because people are tired of all of Disney's shit. Elemental, an original story that tried and failed
Are they listening to us?
I don't know. To recapture Pixar's magic. And most recently, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, a $300 million investment.
Oh, it's more than that.
In one of cinema's most venerable franchises, which no longer appears to have the same hold on today's audience. On paper, these films seemed like they had all the makings of huge hits. But somehow the Disney sparkle was lacking this time in terms of filling movie theater seats.
On paper, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp isn't one of their top tier Marvel franchises.
No, but it was leading into Secret Wars.
Okay, it might be the case. Yeah. But on paper, it did not have the appearance of being great. Little Mermaid, other than the fact that they were trying so hard to make it stick because they were going for the gimmick of race swapping the character. People are tired of live action remakes. They're just sick to death of them. They've been telling you for years. Disney keeps tripling down on it, even though people keep telling them no. And that was never going to probably do great because everybody's sick of it. Elemental just, looked like it was, it looked like kind of a knockoff. Everybody's calling it, what was it? Fire, was it Water Boy and Fire? Oh. No, Water Girl and Fire Boy.
Some flash.
Whatever the hell it was. They were going about that. And then they didn't show you enough about it. They announced it and then they kind of were hiding it. So obviously there's going to be problems there. In Indiana Jones, it was another case of where people were like, why the hell do we need another Indiana Jones movie? You already ended it twice. Why do we need a third ending? None of these were ones that I think people thought were going to be like, oh my God, it's amazing. The bestest thing ever on paper. They should be winners. I don't see how.
Yeah. It's funny because they said, last year they had Black Panther 2 and Doctor Strange 2. The thing is, both of those movies underperformed compared to what they expected. I mean, they weren't failures, but they were talking Wakanda Forever was going to be $1 billion hit, and it hit like 700 or 800 million. Doctor Strange 2 started out strong, and that fell off a cliff. Yeah. Once people watched it, they were like,
It wasn't good. I mean, it was okay. It was okay. But it wasn't.
Yeah, they said people were like, what's going on here? They said that ticket sales for films as produced this year have been more earthbound, especially compared to the last pre-COVID year when Disney fielded a record 7 movies that crossed the $1 billion mark in 2019. They said the reviews haven't been that great. There are other issues because of its all tentpole, all the time strategy. Disney's movies each require production budgets of at least $200 million, plus marketing costs of roughly $100 million. So they basically have to make more money. They basically have to make $1 billion if they want to make a profit.
Before it was justified, but now it's not.
They said China is no longer watching the movies. Russia's not watching the movies.
Right.
Russia got cut off, right? Every studio is grappling with these punishing realities as the box office remains down roughly 20%. But Disney has historically enjoyed such a track record of success, and its issues are casting a pall over the entire movie business. Anything Disney threw out in 2019 made $1 billion, said Jeff Bach. Now it's more difficult than ever to release a film worldwide. The landscape's changed. It's not close to coming back.
I think that a lot of it is to do with the fact that we don't have the Chinese audiences anymore and things like that. However, I think because Disney you have reputation. And after you guys keep ruining franchises and ruining things that you get custody of, people are just starting to be like, I'm not going to waste my time because it's probably going to suck.
Yeah. They said that it takes a long time to course correct. They said Disney, if they start course correcting today, you wouldn't notice a difference until 2026.
Probably not. They're already still making this shit.
And they said, if they cut back on the budgets, is that going to affect the quality of the movies? I mean, you can have some really expensive shit.
Can some of these movies get any worse?
I know, right?
Especially Star Wars.
They said it's not just the market conditions. There's a mix of creative shortfalls and outsized attention on streaming.
Yeah, create a shortfalls. Yes, it's called. You keep banking on IP, but it's IP that you mishandle. Mm-hmm. You want this. You want these IPs with decades of fans, but you don't want the fans because as soon as you get them, you get these dipshits and you put them in to make a movie, and they're too busy worrying about making a movie in their image and not worrying about being a caretaker. And so what they're doing is they're going immediately in there and then they're pissing off the fans and then calling them names. Ryan Johnson was on Twitter antagonizing people intentionally.
Yep.
That's when Star Wars went off a cliff. And then you're still sitting there trying to tell the audience it's because they're shitty people.
They said Pixar has suffered the most from the mindset of, streaming. They said that
well, that's true.
People have been trained.
Disney's own doing. Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Disney did it themselves.
And they try to do some damage control. Like, well, these movies are expensive. We got to put them in theaters. They said, it's funny because the Super Mario movie which is expected to be the year's highest grossing film with $1.3 billion revenue, only cost $100 million to bring to life. That's roughly half of what Pixar paid for Elemental, which has yet to crack $200 million globally.
Rise of Gru was last 4th of July, and it did better than Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Puss in Boots, yeah. The Across the Spider-Verse is doing really well.
Yeah. Now that one's pretty expensive. I don't know how expensive, but still.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Like they're saying the budgets are bloated, but like, yeah, it's pretty to look at. But I'm like, they said the budgets are bloated and they're not getting a return on this. They said Star Wars has lost its luster in theaters.
I wonder why.
As the franchise is set in a galaxy far, far away, has found repeated success on Disney Plus. No, this isn't what's going on.
See, Mandalorian, Mandalorian and Andor. Andor did have a lot of people like it. Mandalorian did have a lot of people like it. But as we see with Mandalorian, it made it 2 seasons and they completely fucked it up by the 3rd season. Book of Boba Fett was basically Mandalorian 2.5 or something like that. 2.5. They just get something, and if they get any success out of it, they squeeze it to death. And then we end up with Jack Black and Lizzo. I'm like, come on.
It's like it's turned into a fucking Muppet show.
Well, it's a Bo-Katan show now.
Yeah, but it's like, oh my God, celebrity guest stars like the freaking holiday special.
Pretty much.
That's like, okay, they are dancing around the issue because the thing is, Star Wars was broken before Disney Plus. Solo bombed because people were so pissed off about The Last Jedi. Nobody went to go see Solo. And they tried to blame, the Star Wars movies are too close together. That's what the whole problem is. They weren't so close together.
It fell off a cliff after The Rise of Skywalker. No, it fell off a cliff after The Last Jedi, who you probably liked, which is why you're not bringing it up. You can trace it all back to The Last fucking Jedi.
Yes. Now, not technically The Last fucking Jedi. Jedi aren't supposed to
They're not allowed to do that.
They're not supposed to
fuck. So clearly I'm not talking about that.
Because you'll turn into a Sith if you do. You've got mommy issues and all that stuff. Yeah, so anyway. They are kind of... They are admitting that Disney's broken, but they're not addressing the issue, the real issue. Same with here. They said that they don't believe there's going to be a new Star Wars movie in theaters anytime soon.
Well, they also mentioned, too, that there's all these high-profile projects being announced. Disappear, which we've been mentioning repeatedly.
Yeah, so here's the thing. This is it right here. What they're not mentioning, and they're probably trying to avoid some of the crazy ass motherfuckers on Twitter that have come after YouTubers in the last couple of years. But we're going to have to address it. As a sprawling media conglomerate, Disney is facing issues on all fronts. Bob Iger, who returned as CEO after a brief hiatus and displaced his successor, Bob Chapek, is simultaneously battling Wall Street's unrest over the unprofitability of Disney Plus, concerns that Disney's parks business may have alienated customers with its higher prices, and a rise in cord cutting that's imperiling its cable properties like ESPN. These are all doing more to depress Disney's share price than the struggle with the latest movies. You're not mentioning the politics. I know you probably don't want to go there, but
I'm sure Variety leans a certain way.
I'm sure they do, but the reality is, regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, Disney stuck its nose into politics, and I think a lot of consumers are pushing back.
I just think people are just tired of everything having to be political. Like, you can be far left or far right or whatever, but the majority of people fall in the middle. And I think that they're just like tired. Like, I'm coming to the theater because I want to see a movie, because I want to escape all the bullshit that's on Twitter and the constant news and the constant fighting. And I go to the movie and it's more bullshit with constant fighting. And I'm like, I don't want that. Please stop.
Disney desperately needs to create something new.
No shit!
It does a good job at cannibalizing itself. They remake their movies and echo what they've done in the past. At a certain point, there won't be a whole lot for them to echo.
Including the show Echo, which I hear might not be good, and they joked about shelving it. But anyway.
So here we go. This is what's funny, though, right? More than its competitors. It's true, but it's also not. More than its competitors, Disney can withstand some of its movies functioning as loss leaders. In addition to racking up ticket sales, the studio's films are designed to boost interest in toys and theme parks.
Toy sales are down, aren't they?
They are down. But that's actually true. The reason that we had 2 Cars sequels that nobody wanted was because Cars toys sold well.
That's true.
That is actually true.
I only saw the first one, but you watched the other ones because of kids.
The third one was better than the second one. That's all I'm going to say.
Other the first one.
Okay, so here we go. So although The Little Mermaid barely floated past the $500 million mark, okay, The return of Ariel is helping sell Legos, backpacks, dolls, beddings, and nail polish, probably with the original animated version of Ariel.
No, they have a lot with the new version. Like the Legos are all the new version of Ariel, but they probably are rolling it into the classic Ariel sales as well, because they are still putting classic Ariel out as well.
And they do have the kids show coming out.
And here's the thing, though, too. I don't think that stuff's selling a whole lot either.
I don't think so. I've actually seen a lot of the Disney and Star Wars and Marvel stuff, especially Lego sets on clearance, which would have been unthinkable 5 or 6 years ago. Like the Star Wars and Marvel Lego sets always sold really well. The Harry Potter sets, actually the Harry Potter sets still sell pretty well, shockingly. But the Star Wars, I see Star Wars Legos on clearance all the time, which blows my mind, right? The same goes for Ant-Man, which brings an influx of interest to Avengers Campus. They're going to go to that regardless. So this is what Disney's probably doing. They're probably juggling the books and being like, oh, well, because Ant-Man flopped, it got a bunch of people into the theme parks. So we'll just write that off as marketing for the theme parks.
The new Marvel area, they have that Pym, the one restaurant where they have the food being really big or really little or whatever.
Yeah, and they charge you
really big or really or a little bit less big.
Yes, big or less big. Shrinkage. Oh, look at that tiny little hot. I could just see them getting like one of those cocktail wieners.
Yes, that's $10.
That's $10.
And so people can watch their waistlines.
You can watch your waistline, right? You don't want to get too fat. So they may not make it at the box office, but Disney's going to make up for it in merchandise sales.
No, they're not. I don't believe so.
And the longevity of the property. I don't think so.
I don't believe so.
We went to Ollie's. Ollie's is where Disney goes to die. Mm-hmm. And, to be fair, we did find some other properties at Ollie's, which I did not expect. We found some Power Rangers and some Ghostbuster stuff, but that stuff actually sells pretty quick. Star Wars in particular has been rotting on Ollie's shelves for years. For those of you who don't know what Ollie's is, it is a discount store. They buy lots of unsold crap, like huge truckfuls of crap. They still have literally a wall of Rey action figures from 2015 and 2017.
They can't get rid of them.
They cannot sell them.
When we go, there's always more figures added to the pegs that are other figures they've got in, and those same damn figures are still there.
Yeah. They just got a whole big shipment of Mandalorian stuff in, which surprised me. Bunch of baby Grogu crap.
I should have got the baby Grogu. Darn it.
You should have.
Oh, well.
$16. It was like a $40 doll.
But I'd rather have things like, the new Monster High dolls. I don't like the new show, but the dolls are cute. Or those mermaids dolls. I'll buy them before I'll buy that. Actually, what I'll price my money on is She-Ra and Jem toys.
Yeah. It's not selling that well. I mean, I bought the Luke Skywalker X-Wing set.
It was cute.
$5.
$5.
It was a $20 set.
They had the TIE Fighter one. They were like the chibi versions of characters. They were cute. They were like what, $20 normally or something like that?
20 or 25, yeah. $5. If you told me 5 or 6 years ago that you would be able to find a Jedi Luke Skywalker with a TIE Fighter playset for $5 and it was just collecting dust on a shelf somewhere, I'd be like, you're smoking something.
Mm-hmm. But since Disney got hold of it, it's totally
worthless.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's what you expect. And I mean, I remember we went to wasn't long after the Captain Marvel came out. We went to the ones, we were at the Disney store in Disney, and we were in there, and I had a picture of the boxes of all the Captain Marvels, and there was dust all over top of them because no one was buying the damn dolls.
Literally nobody was buying them, and they all wound up going to Ollie's too.
Probably.
So anyway, I just think it's funny variety. I mean, they're not addressing the actual elephant in the room, or donkey, if you would, in the room, which is the politics actually have played a huge role in this, but. Yeah, at least they're starting to come around and realize that, Disney's broken. They're broken.
I don't understand why they were surprised that no one wanted the resting bitch face Barbie. That's basically what she was.
Yeah, she was. She looked very grumpy, very angry.
Constipation. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support. And get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.